你有没有过这种感觉？好不容易熬到了周末，推掉所有的聚餐，把手机切成静音，给自己点了一杯大杯冰美式，然后整个人瘫软在沙发上。你打开串流平台，一部接一部滑着那些推荐影片，或者打开手游狂刷副本，直到眼睛酸涩，夜幕低垂。你以为这叫放松，你以为这叫享受自由。可是当你关掉荧幕的那一刻，迎面扑来的不是充实的快乐，而是一种巨大的空虚与疲惫。那种感觉甚至比周五下班时还要累。你坐在床边看着天花板，心里想着，我明明爽了一整天，为什么我会这么空虚？这不是你一个人的挣扎，这是我们整个时代的普遍性困境。我们每个人都在拼命寻找快乐，但我们却常常找错了的方。这就是我们今天要聊的这本书，由心理学家米哈里·契克森米哈伊所写的经典著作《心流》。这本书的作者契克森米哈伊，他的童年是一场巨大的风暴。他出生在欧洲，亲眼目睹了第二次世界大战的惨烈。在战争中，他看到了原本富裕、受过高等教育的成年人，在社会体制崩溃的那一刻，内心也跟着完全粉碎。他们失去了财富，失去了的位，于是就彻底失去了活着的动力与尊严，灵魂变得空洞。这给了年幼的他极大的震撼。他开始思索一个问题：如果外在的名利、地位和安全感都是如此脆弱，那么人类到底该把幸福建立在什么基础上？到底有没有一种快乐，是任何人、任何战争、任何命运的暴击，都无法从我们身上夺走的？为的是寻找这个答案，他成了心理学家。他开始去访谈那些在各行各业展现出极致热情的人，包括在手术台前连续开刀10几个小时的外科医生，在画布前忘记吃饭的艺术家，在攀岩时命悬一线的运动员，甚至是一个每天在工厂重复单调动作的普通工人。他发现，这些人身上都有一种共同的状态：当他们在做那些事情的时候，他们的时间感消失了。原本的1小时感觉像是过了1分钟，他们的自我意识完全融化，外界的喧嚣全部安静下来。这种状态，作者称之为心流，也就是一种意识完全集中、大脑井然有序的极致体验。这本书就是他为的是拯救现代人那颗破碎、焦虑的心所写下的命运之作。在这本厚重的著作里，最锋利、最能狠狠刺痛现代人的一把刀，就是作者提出的一个反直觉洞见：被动的娱乐其实是假快乐。我们总以为工作是痛苦的，休闲是快乐的，所以我们追求少工作，多休闲。但契克森米哈伊做的大量经验研究却狠狠打了我们的脸。他发现，人在工作时反而更容易进入心流状态，因为工作通常有明确的目标，有及时的反馈，有刚好能激发能力的挑战。相反的，在休闲时间，当现代人拥有大把自由时，我们往往会陷入一种意识的熵增状态。什么是意识的熵增？就是当没有外在目标引导时，我们的大脑会自然流向混乱。我们开始胡思乱想，过去的遗憾，未来的焦虑，人际关系的摩擦，那些负面情绪会像杂草一样疯狂生长。为的是逃避这种混乱，现代人最常做的事情就是选择被动娱乐，躺在床上刷短影音，看八卦新闻，漫无目的地转着电视遥控器。这把刀最锋利的地方就在于，它揭穿了我们最舒适的防线。被动娱乐不需要你付出任何精神能量，你不需要专注，不需要动脑，不需要克服任何困难。演算法会精准地把一个又一个刺激喂到你的嘴边。在那一刻，你的大脑确实被麻痹了，你误以为那是快乐。但作者一针见血地指出，这种被动的休闲，本质上只是对现实焦虑的局部麻醉。它没有在你的意识里建立任何秩序。当娱乐结束，麻药褪去，你还是要面对那个毫无长进、依然混乱的内心。这就是为什么周末结束后，你反而感到更加空虚的原因。真正的快乐，或者说心流，从来不是一种舒服、放松、软绵绵的状态。它恰恰相反，它通常发生在一个人为的是完成某个艰难而有意义的目标，将自己的身体或心智发挥到极致的时刻。 那种快乐是主动迎来的。比如你花了1个下午，痛苦的查阅资料，终于写好了一篇深度报告，或者你挥汗如雨，在球场上突破了自己的体能极限。在那个当下，你可能觉得很累，很痛苦，但事后回想，那种掌控自己生命能量的充实感，会成为你内心最坚固的基石。这本书在我心里撞击出最猛烈的火花，也是我最想和你们分享的私房观点，就是关于我们如何对抗这个世界的喧嚣。我非常认同作者说的，我们不能把幸福寄托在外在环境。如果我们必须要等到发大财，等到伴侣完全符合期待，等到社会完全公平，才觉得快乐，那等于是把生命的遥控器交给了命运。真正的自由，是拥有内在的主体性。也就是说，不论外界多么混乱，你都有能力在自己的意识里建立秩序。但是，当我合上这本书，站在2026年的今天重新审视这个观点时，我坦白说，我也有一种深深的不舒服和怀疑。作者身处的时代，没有演算法，没有智慧型手机。他鼓励每个人透过高度的自律，设定目标来进入心流。但现在的我们，面对的是全世界最顶尖的天才科学家，用最厉害的量子电脑、最精准的 AI 模型，日夜不停地在研究如何抢夺我们的注意力。在这种情况下，如果我们把所有进入心流的责任都归咎于个人的自律，是不是太过沉重了？当一个年轻人下班后累得像条狗，你跟他说，你不能躺着刷手机，那叫假快乐，你应该去学写程式，去练瑜伽，去追求主动的心流。这会不会变成另一种变相的成功学压迫？这是我觉得这本书在当代社会有一点理想化，甚至让人感到喘不过气的地方。不过，这并不妨碍这本书的伟大。它像一面镜子，照出了我们在资讯爆炸时代的狼狈。它提醒我们，虽然外在的诱惑很大，但我们依然有选择的权利。我们或许无法做到100%的自律，但我们至少可以开始觉察自己正在被什么东西麻痹。这周，我们不需要做出什么惊天动地的改变。我想留一个非常简单的小行动给你。这周当你再次感到疲惫，想要打开手机开始无意识盲目乱滑的时候，请先停下5秒钟，试着把手机放进另一个房间，然后拿出一张白纸和一支笔，随手写下你当下的3个真实感受，或者去厨房帮自己认认真真的倒一杯温开水。在那个当下，试着把全部的注意力只放在水流的声音和杯子的温度上。就这么一件小事，去夺回你对注意力的主导权。去试试看吧。Have you ever had that feeling? You finally make it to the weekend, decline every invitation, put your phone on silent, and collapse onto the couch with a large iced Americano. You open a streaming platform, scrolling through endless recommendations, or pull up a mobile game to grind through quests until your eyes grow heavy and the sun goes down. You tell yourself this is relaxation. You tell yourself this is freedom. But the moment you turn off the screen, what greets you is not a sense of fulfillment, but a profound, lingering emptiness. You feel more exhausted than you did when you clocked out on Friday. You sit on the edge of your bed, staring at the ceiling, wondering why indulging yourself all day left you feeling so completely hollow. This is not a personal failure. This is the universal dilemma of our modern era. We are a generation obsessively chasing happiness, yet we consistently look for it in the wrong places. This brings us to the book we are diving into today, the timeless classic titled Flow, written by the legendary psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. To understand the core message of this book, we must first look at the life of the author. Csikszentmihalyi grew up in Europe during the dark and turbulent years of World War II. As a young boy, he witnessed the total collapse of civilization. He saw highly educated, wealthy, and successful adults lose everything overnight. When their social structures, bank accounts, and titles vanished, their internal world shattered along with them. They lost their purpose, their dignity, and their will to live. This left a permanent mark on young Mihaly. He began to question the very foundation of human existence. If wealth, status, and societal security can be stripped away in a single moment, where does true human happiness come from? Is there a kind of joy that cannot be stolen by war, poverty, or the cruel twists of fate? This burning question drove him to pursue psychology. Decades later, he launched an ambitious research project, interviewing people who exhibited an extraordinary passion for their daily activities. He spoke with surgeons who operated for 14 consecutive hours without a break, artists who forgot to eat while painting, rock climbers who risked their lives on sheer cliffs, and assembly line workers who found profound satisfaction in repetitive factory tasks. He discovered a remarkable common denominator among all of them. When these individuals were deeply engaged in their work, their perception of time altered completely. Hours felt like minutes. Their self-consciousness dissolved entirely. The chaotic noise of the outside world fell away, replaced by an intense, harmonious concentration. Csikszentmihalyi termed this state flow, defining it as an optimal experience where consciousness is perfectly ordered and entirely focused on the task at hand. This book is his masterwork, written to provide a psychological roadmap for anyone drowning in modern anxiety and seeking to reclaim their inner peace. Among the many powerful concepts explored in this book, the sharpest blade that cuts straight to the heart of modern lifestyle choices is a deeply counterintuitive insight. Passive entertainment is a counterfeit version of happiness. We live under the cultural assumption that labor is a painful sacrifice and leisure is an effortless paradise. We structure our lives around the desire to work less and relax more. However, the extensive empirical data collected by Csikszentmihalyi reveals a shocking truth. People actually experience flow states far more frequently during their professional working hours than during their free time. Work naturally provides clear goals, immediate feedback, and a structured level of challenge that matches a person's skills. In stark contrast, unstructured leisure time often plunges people into a state of psychic entropy. What exactly is psychic entropy? It is the natural tendency of the human mind to drift into chaos and negativity when left without a specific objective. When you have absolutely nothing to do, your brain does not automatically rest. Instead, it begins to wander, bringing up past regrets, future anxieties, and unresolved interpersonal conflicts. To escape this uncomfortable internal chaos, the vast majority of people choose the path of least resistance, which is passive entertainment. We lie in bed scrolling through social media feeds, watching sensational gossip videos, or mindlessly flipping through channels. This insight is incredibly profound because it strips away our most comfortable excuses. Passive entertainment requires absolutely no expenditure of mental energy. You do not need to concentrate, you do not need to think, and you do not need to overcome a single obstacle. Modern algorithms are expertly designed to feed your brain a continuous stream of effortless stimulation. In those moments, your mind is effectively numbed, and you mistake that numbness for genuine pleasure. But the author points out that passive leisure is merely a temporary anesthetic for existential dread. It does absolutely nothing to build order within your consciousness. The moment the entertainment ends and the digital high wears off, you are forced to confront the exact same disorganized, anxious internal world you tried to escape. This is precisely why a weekend spent doing nothing leaves you feeling drained and empty. Real happiness, the authentic experience of flow, is never a soft, passive, or purely comfortable state. True joy occurs when a person voluntarily stretches their physical or mental faculties to the absolute limit in pursuit of a difficult and worthwhile goal. It is an act of achievement. Think about the exhaustion you feel after spending an entire afternoon intensely researching and writing a complex report, or the physical fatigue after pushing your body to complete a challenging workout. In the midst of the effort, you might feel strained or stressed, but when you look back, the profound satisfaction of knowing you commanded your own life energy becomes a permanent brick in your psychological foundation. The most valuable takeaway from this book, and the perspective I want to challenge you with today, concerns how we defend our inner world against the overwhelming noise of modern society. I completely agree with the author's assertion that we cannot delegate our happiness to external conditions. If we choose to wait until we secure a massive fortune, until our partners act flawlessly, or until society becomes perfectly just before we allow ourselves to feel content, we are handing the remote control of our emotional life to fate. Ultimate freedom means possessing internal autonomy, which is the hard-won ability to maintain order within your own mind regardless of how chaotic the world around you becomes. However, when I close this book and look at our reality, I have to be completely honest about my own skepticism. The author formulated his theories in an era before the birth of the attention economy, before smartphone addiction, and before hyper-optimized algorithms. He placed the entire burden of achieving flow on individual discipline and personal goal setting. But today, we are facing an entirely different battlefield. We are up against the most brilliant minds on Earth, utilizing powerful computers and advanced artificial intelligence models designed solely to capture, retain, and monetize our attention. Given this reality, Telling someone who is utterly exhausted after a brutal workday that their phone use is a shameful form of fake happiness and that they should instead learn coding or practice advanced yoga feels incredibly dismissive. It risks turning the concept of flow into just another toxic productivity standard that induces guilt rather than inspiration. This is the one area where the book philosophy feels somewhat idealized and perhaps detached from the systemic pressures of contemporary life. Nevertheless, the core truth of the book remains undeniable. Flow serves as a mirror reflecting our modern struggles with digital distraction. It reminds us that despite the immense power of external temptations, we still possess the ultimate freedom to choose where we direct our awareness. We may not achieve flawless discipline every single day, but we can always begin by cultivating basic awareness. We can start by noticing exactly when we are choosing to numb ourselves. This week, you do not need to launch a massive life overhaul. I want to leave you with one very simple, concrete action. The next time you feel completely overwhelmed and find yourself reaching for your phone to begin another hour of mindless scrolling, pause for just 5 seconds. Place your phone in a completely different room, take out a blank piece of paper, and write down 3 honest emotions you are experiencing in that exact moment. Alternatively, walk to the kitchen and pour yourself a warm glass of water, focusing your entire awareness on the sound of the liquid and the physical temperature of the glass against your hands. Just that one tiny action. Reclaim the steering wheel of your attention for 1 minute. Give it a try this week.